Well. So Donald Cowboy Cerrone is crawling back to the UFC and looking to make a return in the summer of 2025. Now you might be saying, Jake, why are you making this video? You're just going to talk about Donald Cowboy Cerrone making a return to the UFC, being way past his prime, coming back for, what is it, money? Why is this guy coming back? Well, we're going to discuss that in this video, but we also have some other things to discuss because Donald Cerrone, I've never been a fan of this guy, right? And I know a lot of you that have been following me for a while, I have just never spoken highly of Cowboy Cerrone. I've never been that guy that's like, oh, this big hero, Donald Cowboy Cerrone. Oh, what a legend. I have never had that feeling for Donald Cowboy Cerrone. So yeah, I'll be up front in the beginning. I don't like the guy. I'm not a fan. I never have been. And a lot of that was, well, yeah, it was Team Nate Diaz, and him and Nate back in the day kind of had their, back and forths. And it just stems to a lot of different things with Cowboy Cerrone. He's got a very interesting past, right? A lot of the things that he said about other fighters and just some of the remarks he's made. I'm sure a lot of you have seen some of those things about Donald Cerrone, but I want to discuss the comeback. We're going to take a look at several different things, right? And we'll try to zip through this here. He's officially back in the drug testing pool. We'll take a look at what Dana had to say not that long ago regarding a return of Cowboy Cerrone, right? These were some of the rumors that were swirling, and what really has changed the tune here? Why is it all of a sudden Dana had all this to say, which we'll listen to, and then now it's a totally different story. So we'll take a look at that. And then these just absolutely disgraceful and despicable comments that if I already didn't like Cowboy Cerrone, this would have made me dislike the guy, but this took it to another level. So we will take a listen to this clip because this is something that kind of got buried away, right? And I think that a lot of people miss this, or it's things that a lot of the main headlines and main, MMA media out there didn't really show this clip. They didn't really highlight it. And for someone to sit up there in a sit down and say the things that you're going to hear this guy say, just tells you a lot about someone's character, and it shows their true colors. So, this is just absolutely disgraceful, which we'll take a look at. And then just some other things of Donald Cerrone openly talking about using testosterone replacement therapy, TRT, and I don't have particularly an issue with taking TRT, but you're coming back to compete. You're coming back to compete, right? A lot of people, when they're older, they take TRT and all those kinds of things. But when you're going to be in there fighting and there's a drug testing system, like we'll discuss all this. So, but let's hop into this, man. So Donald Cowboy Cerrone making a return. It's just, why are you coming back, right? You're in your 40s now. Let's take a look at Donald Cowboy Cerrone's, recent record here. When's the last time Cowboys won a fight? Goes out there, loses to Jim Miller. Goes out there, loses to Joel Selecki. Loses to Craig Jones in a grappling match. Gets finished by Alex Morono. Okay, so he subs RDA with an armbar. Okay, that's not a UFC fight, right? And then you look at all these other L's back to back to back. The last time we've seen Donald Cerrone win a fight in the UFC was 2019 against Al Iaquinta. And then he goes out here against Alexander Hernandez, gets a win. So he goes on a little bit of a streak. But the pattern of Donald Cowboy Cerrone's career was, I'll beat up on a couple of guys that are maybe on the rise and it's too much too soon for them. I'll go out there, I'll beat them. And then I'll go out there against a legit guy in the division and get absolutely smoked. So I always thought Cowboy Cerrone was just a very overrated fighter. And then, so people that are going to say, it's just talk, Jake. It's not just talk. Look, right here, we got this little clip here from championship rounds. This comes from the testing site. This shows that he has tested once already here in 2024, and he's looking to come back in the summer. But I want us to listen to what Dana White had to say here, because I think that it's very strange how Cowboy Cerrone, we know he's, been around the UFC for a while. He's looked at as this legend and all these different things. Why is it that Dana was talking about, oh, no, he's not coming back, to, well, it looks like this all completely just went out the window. So let's listen to what Dana White had to say not that long ago about a potential return for Cowboy Cerrone.
Cowboy Cerrone said he's coming out of retirement.
I hate it.
He wants 2 more fights.
I hate it.
Is that
Love him, hate that. He retired. It's just what for what? What's left to prove? If you want to make money, let's figure something else out. And I hate it.
Thoughts are clear as day. I hate it. The guy's older. Look, we've heard Dana do this. When guys get a little bit older, they're past their prime, unless they're Stipe Miocic and they kind of just want to feed him to John Jones to help build his resume in terms of the all-time great status, because we know Dana's obsessed with John Jones. they pick and choose who they're going to allow to stick around or who they're going to pick and choose to come back and compete. How did the tune go from this right here to now hearing Donald Cerrone's back in the testing pool?
And I wanted to ask about,
when guys retire, they retire for a reason. They don't just retire because they retire because they know it's over. You know it is. So I think that not just this sport, but any professional sport is hard to walk away from. You know, not just the money. That's obviously a very hard part of it. But, you know, the feeling of walking out of that tunnel, the feeling of getting in the cage and, you know, the place is packed and everybody's, I mean, look at every time we're at a show, when you show Cowboy Cerrone on the screen, the place goes nuts. I mean, he's beloved. He's beloved because the guy goes to war, and he's been in wars for years. And
goes to war. He doesn't go to war, really, right? Donald Cerrone either goes in there, like I said before, beats up on a guy that's kind of been on the rise. It's too much too soon. Goes in there, kind of stunts on him, looks great, and it's like, ooh, Cowboy Cerrone, maybe now's his time. Then he goes out there and fights a legit contender in the division and gets absolutely destroyed. So going to war, I mean, I don't know. He's either going out there beating up on an up-and-coming guy, or he's going out there and getting destroyed by someone in the top of the division. So I don't really, I know he's been in some good fights throughout the years, but to me, that's an exaggeration by Dana, in my opinion.
it's time to not go to war anymore, man. It's just there's nothing left to prove for him.
It's safe to say he won't be fighting in the UFC.
I'd rather work something else out with him, figure out another way. If it's about money, then he can do something else. Because he ain't going to fight for the rest of his life, and he's always going to need to make money. So let's figure that out now instead of 3 years from now.
Okay, so you hear it there. So there's Dana, very, that was his stance on Cowboy Cerrone. And, Cerrone's talking about wanting to come back, meet a certain number of fights and all that kind of stuff. But to me, whenever you see a fighter take some time away and then they come back, there is that element of, well, this is kind of all they've known, right? All they've known, right? They want to come out, like Dana said, feel the walk, the hype that comes with a fight, training and preparing. It gives them something to do, and it's something that they've just been doing, right? They kind of live for that high that they get from fighting. But to me, I feel like he's coming back for money. I feel like he's coming back for money. Maybe he's bored. Maybe he didn't do the right things, to kind of prepare himself for after fighting. So, which Dana also hinted at in kind of another interview. But they're saying, like, look, we can figure out something for this guy. And to now see that was Dana's tone before. And now Donald Cerrone's back in the testing pool. I just don't understand. And what really bothers me is the fact that we're out here talking about Donald Cerrone making a return, a washed up old guy. Who's he going to come in? Fight another old guy like Tony Ferguson? Are they just going to, feed him to a young up and coming guy? I mean, I don't think they would do that to Cerrone because the UFC likes him. But what's the point of a return, right? They're out here giving an opportunity for Cerrone to come back, but then there's fighters that are just chomping at the bit to get an opportunity for a roster spot to come in and prove themselves in the UFC, that are hungry, that are in their prime, and we're out here, the UFC's out here worried about getting Donald Cerrone another opportunity, so it seems. Right, they're going to go out there, they're going to cut Muhammad Mokaev, one of the best flyweights in the world, and just be like, nope, we don't want him. We don't want this guy. We don't want to do this. We don't want to do that. But we want to put Donald Cerrone back in a position to come into the UFC. Why are your efforts focused around Donald Cerrone right now? I just think it's very weird, the change of tone there. And then this right here, this clip right here. I mean, it's crazy to me. This clip is absolutely crazy. And the fact that when this happened, a few months back, this is back in June of 2024, the fact that this didn't catch more steam than what it did is just, it's crazy to me. But you're going to hear Cerrone say some, just disgraceful things in this. So I'm just going to let this play so you can take a listen and then we'll react.
A lot. My favorite thing about Tim Kennedy is he's like as American as apple pie. So we're at Jackson's and any of the Russian Muslim fighters would come in. Oh, Timmy would take it upon himself to just take down, smother, and absolutely destroy these dudes. And they were always bigger than I. They're the smaller. I don't know if ISIS cleared them yet or if the United States cleared them to come over into America just yet. I'm not real sure on that. But they weren't here. But I'd be sitting over like, he'd get him, Tim. I got a radio controller. He would just annihilate him, and I loved it. And he would smile and laugh and just rub their face in the mat. Like, I could just do malicious shit. And I'm like, fuck yeah, Tim, that's what I'm talking about. And then you come back and be like, fucking, I hate him. I'm like, yeah, me too. I hate him, but there's nothing I can do. I'm 155 pounds. That dude's 200 pounds. And you just destroyed him.
Yeah, so nothing you could do, Cowboy Cerrone. So you just sat over there and watched. What a piece of shit. Like, honestly, what a piece of shit. And to sit up there in a little sit-down interview, like I said in the beginning of the video, and say something like this in front of the camera, I mean, clear as day. You see exactly how Donald Cerrone feels. And to say something like this, to be so open about basically saying you hate Muslims, hey, you hate Muslim fighters, and then people that are coming over from, we see these guys who come over and they come into the U.S., they do training camps here and this and that. The point of a martial arts gym, right? Obviously, guys compete, they train, you learn self-defense, you learn all these different things. The beauty of an MMA gym or any martial arts facility is you walk in and it doesn't matter who you are. Everyone just finds a way to work together, make each other better. And it is one of those safe spaces to where it's like, we are all here to get better and help each other. And you have guys out there like Tim Kennedy and Donald Cerrone, who if you walked into that gym back at Jackson Wink back in the day, you had a target on your back. If you were a Muslim fighter, if you were from Russia or wherever, these guys had it out for you. How disgusting is that? Right, going into these gyms, I've been in multiple martial arts gyms, and I haven't seen anything like that. I haven't seen anything like that. I haven't heard of anything like that, because the energy is supposed to be, we are here to welcome everybody, and to walk in with a target on your back like this, I mean, to sit up there and say this kind of shit is just absolutely crazy to me. And you got Donald Cerrone and Tim Kennedy. Tim Kennedy's the one out there doing this, and then Donald basically conveying and being like, yeah, I loved it, man. I absolutely loved it. Could you imagine if Team Habib or somebody like that, they had American-based fighters or whoever it was come over to their places and they said something like this in an interview? Oh, it would be up in arms. It would be over. And the fact that he sat up there and said this, and I know this has 3.9 million views, this clip barely went around. People were barely talking about this because it's Donald Cerrone, the beloved legend of the UFC. What a scumbag. What things to say. Because these guys come in there and are training to get better, and you're just like, well, I hate them, so I'm just going to rub their face into the mat and do malicious shit to them. That is so fucked up, dude, on so many levels, and it's just disgusting, to be honest, just to be honest with you. And I know a lot of you are going to sit there and feel kind of the same way. It's just crazy. So in case you were wondering how Donald Cerrone feels and some of these other things, there it is for you. So, once someone shows you who they are, you believe them. So now let's take a look at this. We're going to get into the the other portion of this. And this is the other big issue that I have about Donald Cerrone coming back, right? You could talk about he's older, money, whatever you want to mention. This guy is out there openly talking about how he's, doing TRT, performance enhancers, whatever you want to call them. And he's just going to be like, yeah, I've been taking them, pumping them through, man. Ever since I retired, I'm just going basically through a blasting cruise here. I'm going to get on the sauce. I'm going to help elevate myself. I'm going to feel real good. And then, yeah, I'm going to come off of it and come back into the UFC. So all of those things that you did while using performance enhancers, you're just going to come back and go in there and fight with other people while having an advantage. I understand that you have to test clean and you have to do all those kinds of things, but you were still using stuff. I'm not seeing enough outrage for this. You remember all the criticisms that Brock Lesnar would get? John Jones, Anderson Silva. Now, I know those guys, they were getting caught while they were competing. So Cerrone's doing it while he's not competing technically. But, this was the same outrage with Conor McGregor and Roadhouse. Everyone's like, this guy's out there doing all sorts of stuff, and then he's going to have to get clean and come back. Well, what about all the benefits he reaped from, being on this stuff and coming back and going in there and fighting somebody? It's dangerous. It's a competitive advantage. And I know he's not on it during the time, but to me, this is just wrong. This is wrong, and the UFC is just like, yeah, sure, Donald, come on back. Even though you've openly been out there doing this stuff. So we're going to listen to some different things here, a couple different clips. So we'll start with this clip number 1.
I want to go back and get 2 more fights. When I retired, I told you I was getting my hair done and getting on steroids. So number 50, been sitting in my mind for a while. So when we're Transcend, the last 2 years, taking TRT, a bunch of peptides. Now we got a protocol for all you people like, oh, what if you get on it, you can't ever come off? Well, I now have to come off and piss clean. Fight in a few months. So watch this.
I mean, that seems real fair. That seems real fair, right? And I'm kind of just done with that clip there, but that seems real fair, right? I'm just going to say I'm retired. I'm going to go just live it up, man. I'm going to hop on TRT. I'm going to hop on the sauce. I'm going to get on peptides. I'm going to do all this different stuff. And then I'm going to come back and compete. Listen, if Donald Cerrone's just like, look, I'm done. I want to be healthy. My body's beaten up. I'm getting older. Guys hop on TRT. I don't have an issue with that if that's what you want to do. It's the fact that you're coming back to compete. How are you going to go do all those things and be like, yeah, I'm just going to hop off for a few months, test clean, and then I'll get back in there? So you just gained all those benefits, and then you're going to come in there with basically an advantage because you were just doing all that. And these other fighters, they've been in the testing pool the whole time, testing clean, and you're out there because you remove yourself from the testing pool, and then you get to reap all those benefits and then come back. That's just unfair to me. That's maybe that's just me feeling that way. That is just incredibly unfair. I completely disagree with this. And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And there's not enough outrage, right? When this was, when it was Brock Lesnar, it was these other fighters, everyone's up in arms. But because it's the beloved Donald Cerrone, people are like trying to sweep this under the rug like it's not happening. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. Oh, because he's old. It doesn't matter. You're using performance enhancers, right? And then let's go on to this, where he's talking openly about it on Steve-O's podcast here, to where he's saying, look, I love testosterone replacement therapy. And the thing is this, look, when you get older and your natural production starts to slow down or whatever it is, you hop on TRT, whatever. But the fact that you're going to be in there competing in a combat sport, it's crazy. It's not like Cowboy Cerrone. He's like, I'm retired. I'm just instructing. I just want to train. I just want to hop on some stuff just because. No, you're basically looking for a competitive advantage is what this kind of seems like. And then also to be like, oh, I'm just going to come off a couple months before and whatever. You're going to feel like shit. You're going to feel like shit. You know what I mean? Because you've basically been on stuff this whole time and then, oh, I'll just come off before I compete. Well, you just reaped all the benefits. You're going to come off. You're not probably going to feel very good. I just don't understand this whole thing from Cerrone, but listen to him talking about it here on Steve-O's podcast.
Hey, you wait till you see Cowboy. He's jacked now, man. Like, he got on TRT, and he's jacked. Like,
I could be more jacked if I actually worked out, but the good thing about steroids which is why I know why they're illegal in all major sports, because I feel so good.
Yeah.
Oh, you can train as hard as you want. Had I went in there and lifted and worked, I probably would be just shredded, looking like the insane bodybuilder. But I don't do anything.
You still get
oh
ripped.
yeah, I'm like ripped up, leaned up, like you feel good, and now I understand why.
Right.
They're like, okay, that's a performance enhancing drug. It's a sitting on your ass enhancing.
So you hear him. Look, he's talking about all these different things. Oh, I feel so good. I'm getting all ripped up, whatever, and I'm barely doing anything. So this guy's like, you see what I'm saying? He's enhancing his performance and then going to, I don't care that he's coming off a little bit before he's going to have to test to get back into UFC. You were doing all of these things to help yourself out for an advantage. And then you're going to try to come back and compete. So you basically went on this long skid of losing fights and not being able to find a way to win in the UFC anymore. And then you're going to try to go find an advantage and then come back and be like, maybe that'll help me out a little bit more. That's just what it seems like to me.
Like, I don't do anything. You know what I'm saying?
What was the decision to take it when you turned 40?
What I was told, I was told that when you were in the UFC, that your plan, like all along, was like, man, as soon as I'm done in the UFC, I'm getting on steroids.
So if you're going to do that, and that's your plan to do that, be done with fighting. Don't be like, well, I'm going to retire. I'm going to hop on a bunch of stuff. Maybe that's why he's feeling like I can come back. Oh, I'm on also. I feel good, man. Maybe I can come back and win a fight. It's ridiculous.
Because I won't mention any names, but through my whole career, you wouldn't believe the motherfucking dirt I got. Oh man, I could turn. Yeah, but just being around all these people, they would always, hey, you want. Like, no, because I never wanted it to get taken away from me and not have, like, the way I feel now. It would. So after I'm a short answer to that, and then I'm gonna come back to it. But when I told Dana I want to come back and fight, like, let's say I want to go fight again, he's like, Cowboy, you feel great. You're on all the shit. Come over for 6 months. Let me know how you feel. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? So you just don't. I feel so good. So
you feel so good on all the stuff. Well, what happens when you come off? You're gonna feel like shit. You're gonna feel that's what I'm saying. This doesn't make any sense. And Dana's point is right.
I would worry that I would go on a tear fighting, and then the testing pool would increase or something would happen. I wouldn't be able to hide it.
Right.
and then I'd have to go back to Weasley old me and lose that X. And so I never wanted that. I never wanted to. Plus, cheating is cheating. I didn't, I'm never raised like that. So
you heard that there, right? So that's an important thing, right? Again, you heard what he said. Oh, well, but cheating is cheating. But before he said that, he was like, well, I didn't want to be on it and then get, test positive and I would have been winning fights. And then, but then I come off and I start losing. People would have been like, oh, well, he was only winning fights because he was on steroids. That's why Donald Cerrone didn't take them. Not because, it was cheating and wrong. That's because he said that second. To me, it seems like Donald was more worried about tarnishing himself if he got caught and it being like, oh, I was winning all these fights and then they find out you're on steroids and then you come back and you're off the stuff and you're losing. That just basically delegitimizes everything you just did. That's what I'm kind of getting from that here from Cerrone.
I would tell everyone no. And I would when you would like, if you came to me in the secret, like, hey, I got this shit, I'd be like, well, sick, that's good for you, but I'm good. And they'd always be worried I'd like snitch them out. I'm like, you're safe with, I got you. Don't worry about it. I won't ever tell on you, never, ever, ever. So
you get to hear from Donald Cerrone there. You can kind of make your own, form your own opinions there. But this is the last thing I want us to take a look at. And this is basically him just, basically advertising right here for TRT. And it's like, look, if you're done with fighting, whatever, you're older, you want to work out, do your thing, feel younger, have more energy, whatever, do your thing. The fact that you go away and you do this kind of stuff and then say, you know what, I want to come back and compete after having these advantages is just, to me, it's not fair, man. It's not fair, and it doesn't make a lot of sense.
So after the UFC, I said, I'm coming back, Swole Nation. So you can buy TRT and testosterone replacement, Walmart, pretty much anywhere nowadays, online, but you don't know what you're getting. And you don't know the correct amount to take. The guy at the gym and the guy standing behind Walmart, yeah, they can sell you pretty much anything nowadays, but getting the right stuff to the levels to meet your goals, you need a professional. So finally I came across the company that literally does it all.
So there you go. So you get to hear it here. So basically, he comes across a company, blah, blah, blah. So he's doing all this now. This guy is out here basically saying and basically telling his story, encouraging why, you should do this. And then, I got swole. You see in the title here. And then this guy, you see what I'm saying here, guys? You're going to retire, take some time away. You're going to level yourself up, all of the benefits that you've gained from doing this, and then you're going to try to come back and compete. I understand that he technically wouldn't be on it while he's competing, but the fact that you took the time away to do this for an advantage, and then you want to come back, to me, it shouldn't be happening. It shouldn't be happening. I've always said I thought Donald Cerrone was an overrated fighter, but all of that aside, the fact that the UFC, you saw Dana's interview, and then now the tune seems like it's changed, absolutely crazy. But I want to hear from you guys down in the comments. I mean, the comments that he made, with him and Tim Kennedy is just absolutely disgraceful. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you do not miss an upload. I would appreciate it. See you next time.